That's like the daddy.
Have you ever tried eating sardines cooked on the barbecue with a little garlic, olive oil, parsley? Very simple, absolutely delicious. That is what I'll be cooking today. This is a request from my son who's coming to visit. They're very popular in Sicily. They cook them almost on a daily basis. Not every family, but you will find that at the very least once a week they tend to eat sardines on the barbecue. But before I prepare them, I want to make the marinade so that it will marinade. Let's choose a knife. Let's go for this one. And I've got a very simple recipe which is very standard. Parsley, it's a must because it goes really well with sardines. So I've got some fresh parsley which I'll chop in little pieces here, and quantity is entirely up to you, but the more you add the better. So here is the parsley. Then we go for lemon. And again, this is actually optional, but I think it goes really well with the marinade. So I'm going to add half a lemon for the amount I'm cooking. Today I'll be cooking 700 grams, which is what I've got in my pack. Don't worry about the pips, it's all parts of the traditional way of cooking these things. Here I've got some olive oil, and I will be very generous because this will be also what we'll be using later once the sardines are cooked. And the last ingredient is going to be garlic. I've got a garlic crusher. I've got a very large clove of garlic over here. I'm going to use it all, and I'm going to crush it in. If you are not too keen on garlic, but you don't mind it, you can always add less. Maybe you can half it. You can remove it altogether, or if you really like garlic, add more. This is one of those recipes that you can adapt to your taste. But here is my marinade almost complete. Almost, because all I've got left now is to add a little pepper, quantities as always to taste. And here I've got some salt, and some salt goes in. I get my little brush somewhere. Let's go for something that marries the knife, and I'll mix it together. And this is perfect. It smells delicious, very summery, and this is ready, and I'll leave it on one side. Obviously, I'm not in Sicily. If I was in Sicily, the likelihood is that I would be cooking with very freshly sourced sardines, but I'm in England, and I'm happy to use supermarket ones. Actually, these ones were frozen, so I've defrosted them in the fridge throughout the day. I managed to make a mess. What am I like? Never mind. So, first thing is not to make a mess. Here they are. These are actually quite large as far as sardines go. What we have in Sicily, they are considerably smaller where I come from anyway. They are about half the size of something like this. This one here, I wasn't too sure if it was an intruder. It looks more like a mackerel, but I can see that it's a very large sardine, so we will cook him separately. But what I want to do is to show you how easy they are to clean. I have seen in Sicily them actually removing the head, and then they use the finger and they run through the bottom, and they just remove all of the parts that you don't want. But these are a little bit bigger, so I don't think I'll do that. I'm going to use another knife. How many knives do you need to cook sardines? So this is very simple. Just insert your knife at the bottom of the sardine over here, and just score across the bottom. And then you can insert your finger and just remove all of the parts that you don't want, and you can see that they come out very easily. Obviously, if you are defrosting sardines like I am, make sure that they're fully defrosted, and this is clean. So I've got two plates, one for my rubbish and one for my sardines before they're cleaned. Now I'm going to try this big one over here to see how easy it is, and again, make sure that you've got a nice sharp knife. Be careful not to cut yourself. And if I open it, you can see what I'm talking about. Here, all of this stuff need to be removed. So get your fingers in and pull them out, and you will see that they are quite easy to do there. Now, you can also ask your fishmonger to do this for you, but it's not necessary really, because this is part of cooking as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to leave this because actually it's eatable and it's ready. So I'll do the rest and then I'll put them under running water so that I wash them, and then I'll show you what to do next. I've cleaned them and I laid them on some kitchen paper so that they can start drying, and I'm ready to move on to the next step. I want to show you something first though. If you've got one of those, which is something you can use on the barbecue, it's ideal because you can place them inside them, then you can close it, and you can do one side and then you turn them around, and it's the easiest way to cook them. I've got one, but I wanted to show you an alternative because not everybody might have one of those. So the alternative is to use either metal skewers, and I've got those as well, but I wanted to show you how to use the wooden skewers because it's something that you're most likely to have at home. Little tip, leave them in water. I've been soaking them for about 10 minutes so that they are nice and wet, and the reason why I do that is because when they go on the fire they will not burn. I've actually seen in the past where I've done it myself actually, where all of a sudden they catch fire, and if they're wet they're less likely to catch fire. And I'm going to show you a very easy way to do this so that it's very easy to handle your sardines once they're on the barbecue. So you can see that I am feeding my skewer from the top end near the head, just like this, and I'll go all the way, and I'll just progressively do each sardine just like this. By the way, do you know why sardines are called sardines? And I only recently found out. They originate apparently from Sardinia, the Italian island, and Sardinia is very rich, or used to be very rich in sardines, and that is where the name apparently originates from. So Sardinia sardines. Also, it's a very economical fish, and it's one of those fishes that don't live very long, maybe 5 to 6 year max, and because of that actually they have got less mercury than other fishes. But the trick is also that they are, as you will now most probably, rich in omega-3, so they're very good for your brain and for your heart, but also antioxidants, vitamin B12 I believe, and vitamin D. So they're actually an incredibly healthy and economical fish to source, and delicious to cook and eat, of course. So I'll just finish this line and I'll do the next one. Look at this, my skewer is just long enough to do all of these sardines together. Here is the last one. And having done the first one, now I'll go along, I'll pick another skewer, and I will put my hand on top of all of my sardines. Don't go too far close to the tail. Make sure that you look at the smallest sardine over here, and then move a couple of centimeters so that you've got enough strength. Place your hand on top of your sardines and twist your skewer so that it is easy for you to feed through, and literally just one by one go through all of them. Keep your skewer horizontal and you will be fine. And you can see that, actually you cannot see, but I can feel it with my hand, that as it goes through each sardine it's actually working very nicely, and it should come out somewhere like here. Let's have a look to see if I'm correct, and there it is. Magic. And that's perfect. So as you can see, these are now much easier to handle, and with this one I don't think we need to do anything with the skewer because it's fish on its own right, so it will be easier to just cook on its own. So before we go on the barbecue, I'll get my marinade back, and I'm going to now apply some marinade on top of all of my sardines, just like this. And this will start marinating the fish, but also it will help preventing the fish from getting stuck to my griddle as and when I cook it. But there is also another tip which a lot of people do not realize, and I'll show you once it goes on the barbecue, to make sure that your fish doesn't fall apart. And with Mr. On his own, I'll do the same. One over here and one over here, and I'm ready to just apply a little bit more salt, not a lot as there is already salt in there, just a a little on the top, and I'll do the other side when I go on the barbecue. And I'll see you outside. Just follow me and I'll show you what to do on the barbie. My barbecue is at temperature, mine is gas, so I'm starting from anything between 150 to 200, ideally something like 180. So if you've got a charcoal barbecue, ensure that you've got no flame and you've got a nice red hot base. So here is my fish. I did mention earlier that I was going to share another little tip with you, and here it is. Now the temptation is to sometimes to lay them in line with the griddle, and that to me is not a clever idea. Sorry, clever is the wrong word. So a better way of doing it, instead of going in line with the lines, go the other way around like this, so that the fish is against the direction of the griddle, and that will provide more strength and it will not fall apart. Likewise, if you're cooking a normal fish like him, same, don't put it like that, just put it like that, and that will be better. So I'll close it, and it doesn't take very long to cook, about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how big your sardines are, and I'll turn them around and I'll see you then. There we go. Now to turn them around, this is the most critical part. I tend to use one of those spatulas and go from the back and dislodge them slightly, and then without burning myself, I'll see if I can move them first. And very gently, you can see what I mean. This is considerably easier, just very gently flick them over, and there they are. I'll leave them as they are so that I don't mess them about.
What about the big boy?
The big boy. Let's turn him around as well. Perfect, much easier of course because it's larger. Before I continue, I'm going to do a little top up with more of my marinade all over my sardine.
Does smell yummy.
They do, and over him. And here is also a little salt, as I said before, both ends. And you might not be aware of it, but to catch sardines, there is a very clever technique. They are attracted by light, and sardines actually, fishermen to go in the middle of the night to fish for sardines. They have a very bright light, so it's very, very dark. They are attracted by the light because they like to go to the surface to eat. And then you've got a boat which is effectively surrounded by sardines. Then they put a net, and it's one of those nets that closes at the bottom. Then they pull the net and they got lots of sardines. It's very clever. So it's something actually that they fish at night. That's why generally if you go to fish markets, you go first thing in the morning is when you find them really, really fresh because they've just been caught in the middle of the night. 3 minutes, see you then. And there we go, they're ready. You can see that the skewer's trick has worked very, very well, and they are ready to be served. Let's go and get the big boy, as Julie calls him. There we go.
He is. It's like the daddy.
We'll move to the table next. And what else is there to say? To eat them, of course, you need to apply more marinade fresh. Obviously you do this on your plate, and tuck in. In Sicily, they are so small that they don't tend to remove the meat from the bones because they are really, really small and they eat them whole. And actually, if you think about it, when you eat sardines from the box or you might buy in the supermarkets, they're already pre-cooked. You tend to also eat the bones, and they're really rich in calcium, but not today. They're perfect. Not as fresh as the Sicilian ones, but no. Under the circumstances they're really good, really delicious. I'm very pleased. My son, who is slaughtering, will be very, very pleased. Thank you for watching, and if you make them, even if you do them inside your oven at home, you can still do something similar. Let me know. Buon appetito. Ciao ciao.